Hi everyone, it's Sunday. I hope everybody saw Mass on TV today. Um, Today I want to talk to you about our second story that I'm going to do is today I want to talk about family and how important family is. I was very lucky coming from a big family, and today I want to talk about one person in my family, which is my dad. When my dad was, he lived in Ireland. When my dad was 10, he did something wrong, I guess, and his father banished him from his house, and he was sent to a farm up the road, and he had to stay there and work, and he was only 10 or 11 at the time. And every night he would walk up to the edge of the hill and look down in the valley where his house was, and he wished that he could be back home. I don't know how long he stayed, maybe a couple months, 3 or 4 months, and then he finally got back home. But since then, he always wanted to leave Ireland and come to the United States. Especially when they were younger, it was very hard for them to get jobs. So in 1926, when he was 19, he came to the United States. In 1933, he moved to Chicago, and that's where he met my mom, who was also from Ireland. And in 1935, they were married. They had 7 kids. 4 girls and 3 boys. As I was growing up, of course, my dad was Irish and had a very short temper. And frequently when he was upset with us, in which we did a lot of things that could make people upset, so he would give us a spanking if we were out of line. My sisters would say, "Johnny, run, Johnny, Dad's coming." And I knew I did something wrong, so it was okay with me to just face the consequence. So I would go up and I would get the spanking. And but if I ran away like they wanted me to, and then come back later when he was settled down, but then I would be faced with a lecture for the next 2 days, which was really hard. It's much easier to get spanked and have everything done. But my dad was a great person. I loved him very much. Almost every Sunday after Mass, we would go out to this park. And I thought it was out in the country, but it really was, about 5, 6, 10 miles away. And we would have a picnic out there. And every summer, he would rent a cottage up in one of the lakes up in Wisconsin or in Illinois, and then we'd go there for a week. It was all so much fun. And they were the things that I remembered most. But there were a few times that I kind of had my dad really upset. One time, all my friends were out in the alley. Then in Chicago, they had the houses. In between the houses, there was an alley for the garbage trucks and things like that to go down, so they weren't on the main streets. And so we did a lot with my friends. I'd play out in the alley. And my dad was going somewhere, and he had this his brand new Plymouth, 56 Plymouth, red and black. It looked like a little fire truck. So I don't know how old I was at the time, maybe 12 or 13 or something like that. And I said to my dad, my friends were all out there, "Hey, Dad, why don't you let me pull the car out?" And so I got behind the wheel, started the car, and I started pulling out, but I was a little too close to the side of the garage, and but I didn't stop. My dad was yelling, "Stop, stop!" But I didn't stop, and I tore off all the chrome off the one side of the car. And when I got out of the car, he's holding the chrome in his hands, and he knows that he shouldn't have asked me to pull the car out. So I didn't get the beating that I should have gotten, but I did get lectured for the 2 or 3 days afterwards. Another occasion, if you've ever seen these little it looked like a little rocket ship, and you put a cap in between it, and you tighten it up, and you throw it up in the air, and when it comes down and hits the cement, it pops. Well, I decided to tie a string around the end and put it up in the air and shoot it up in the air and let it come down and hit. And I did it again, and then higher and higher, and I spun it faster and faster. Well, I didn't know my dad was watching me out the top. We had a big house, 2-story house, and I didn't know that he was watching me through the window. And the last time I threw it very hard, and it went up, and he was standing there looking at me at the thing, and the rocket went right through the window and just missed him. And I said, "Oh man, I'm going to get killed." So I ran out, ran down the alley, and I went around the corner, and we had a hiding place that when the bigger kids on the block were chasing us, we'd hide in there. So I ran down, and I hid behind this fence, and you couldn't see the person even if you were looking for him. So I hid there, and I hid there for a long time. Maybe 3 or 4 hours, and 5 hours. After that, it started to getting dark, and I was a little concerned that I didn't want to spend the night there. So I said, well, I better face the music. So I started walking down the street, and as I turned the corner, the red Plymouth came around the corner, and the door opened up. I got in the car. Not a word was said. He drove home, and he didn't even give me a lecture for days and days and days. He just let it go, and I was very surprised. My dad was quite the card, and I guess he knew that I was sorry. I think he was more worried about me being somewhere or leaving town. Another thing, my brother and I were building a giant snow fort in the back. And all of a sudden, there was these ice balls coming at us, knocking into the walls and everything. We couldn't figure out where they were coming from. My dad must have brought a bucket of snow up into the second story and was throwing snowballs out at us, and it was unbelievable. So we finally saw him, and then he was smashing us with snow and everything like that. So it was fun, and all our life we had a great time. And the next time, I'm going to continue talking about growing up in a Catholic Irish family. And so till then, take care of yourself. Now remember, wash your hands 6 feet apart from everybody, and you take care of yourself. Thank you.